A customer demanded a full refund on a dress she'd clearly worn, arguing, "I'm a loyal shopper, you owe me this." When I politely refused, she screamed in front of other shoppers, "This store doesn't care about its customers." She threatened to leave a horrible review unless I caved in. I calmly pointed to the security cameras and said, "Funny, since they show you wearing it at last week's party, and our no-return policy for worn items. My name's Danny. I'm 39 and I own a small clothing boutique in Asheville, North Carolina. The place has been in my family for years. My aunt started it back in the 80s. After she passed away, I took it over. It's not just a business to me, it's everything. My whole life is tied up in this place. Running the store isn't easy. I do most of it myself. I clean, manage the books, order inventory, take care of the displays, and help customers. It's hard work, but I care about it. Every item on the racks is something I picked. Every customer matters." Or at least, I thought they did. One Tuesday afternoon about 6 months ago, this woman walks in. I'd seen her before. She came in the week before and bought one of our fancier dresses. Deep green velvet, slit up the thigh, fitted top. It cost $179. I remembered her because she kept asking, "Will this make my boobs look good?" And, "Is this too much for a birthday party at the Grove?" That's a nightclub and restaurant nearby, kind of upscale. She seemed normal back then. But now she was back, with that same green dress folded up in one of our store's pink bags. I recognized her right away. "Hi, I need to return this," she said, smiling too wide. I took the dress out of the bag. First thing I noticed? It looked worn. I'm not talking about someone trying it on for a few minutes at home. I'm talking, the tag had been ripped off and pinned back on like a sad arts and crafts project. There were faint makeup stains around the neckline, some stretched fabric under the arm, and a little tear at the slit. It looked like it had danced, sweated, and sat through a full night out. "Oh, hey," I said. "How was the party?" She blinked like she wasn't expecting me to remember. "What party? The birthday at the Grove? Oh, I didn't go. Changed my mind. Didn't wear the dress." I stared at her. She was lying straight to my face. I kept it polite. "Okay. I just want to let you know, this dress looks worn. It's not in returnable condition." She frowned. "It hasn't been worn." I held the dress up gently. "The tag was removed, and I'm seeing makeup on the neckline. There's also a small tear here. We can't take back items that have been used. It's part of our policy." She leaned across the counter. "I am a loyal customer. I've spent hundreds here. You owe me this return." I've heard that line before. Loyalty doesn't give you a pass to break rules. "I'm sorry," I said, "but this dress was worn. We can't resell it. That's why we have the policy." She wasn't having it. She raised her voice. "So you're just going to steal my money? This store doesn't give a damn about its customers." People turned to look. 2 teenage girls near the jewelry rack froze. An older woman by the dressing room raised her eyebrows. I stayed calm. "No one's stealing anything. You wore the dress. We can't take it back." Then she slammed her hand on the counter and shouted, "I will destroy this place if you don't give me a refund." I glanced up at the security camera directly above the register and pointed. "You were at the Grove last Saturday, right? You posted pictures on Instagram. We've got you on camera wearing this dress. You stood right in front of our store sign in the selfie. So no, we're not doing this." She stared at me, her face going red. "This place is trash." And with that, she stormed out. The door slammed so hard the bell almost fell off. But that wasn't the end. 2 days later, she left a review on Google that made my stomach turn. Said I humiliated her, body-shamed her, and manhandled her during a return. She called me racist, I'm Latina, and she's white, said my store had roaches, and claimed I yelled at her until she cried. None of it was true. But people read it. My store rating dropped from 4.8 to 3.6 overnight. Sales tanked. Longtime customers called to ask what happened. One even said, "I didn't know you had that kind of attitude." That broke me. I stayed up most of that night just sitting on my couch, lights off, looking at my store's reviews. I felt helpless. I wanted to scream. But I knew I couldn't let her win. I had to fight back, smart and quiet. So I did what I always do when someone threatens my shop. I got to work. Continued prompt. Continue the story, add conflicts or story twist, keeping the details sharp and the tone dramatic, use simple words. No ending yet, part 2, continued. I didn't sleep that night. I stayed at my kitchen table with a legal pad, making a list. I didn't want revenge for fun. I wanted to protect my store. I needed to clear my name, and shut her down before she did this to someone else. The next morning, I went to work early and pulled the footage from the Saturday she bought the dress. Just like I remembered, there she was, smiling at the counter, laughing, holding the dress up to the light. Then I pulled footage from the following Saturday. That's when things got real. A customer across the street had security cameras outside his art studio. I called him, name's Mark. He's a regular at the shop and once asked me for fashion advice before his gallery opening. I asked him if I could see his footage from the night of that party. He agreed. And there she was. Gina, strutting right down the sidewalk in front of my shop. Dressed in that deep green velvet, posing with a group of women. She spun around for a photo, and one of the girls took it with their phone. It was crystal clear. Even better? She did it right in front of my store sign. I had her. I saved the footage, timestamped it, and downloaded it to a USB. Then I started looking through social media. Took less than 10 minutes to find her Instagram. Public account. She'd posted 3 pictures from the party. One had her tagged in front of the sign. Same dress. Same group of women. Hashtag Velvet Vibes, hashtag Grove Nights. I screenshotted everything. Her caption? When you dress like you're expensive, you don't pay for drinks. I wanted to laugh and cry at the same time. Then I made a second folder. In it, I saved screenshots of her review. The lies. The comments people had left in support of her. So sorry this happened to you. That place is garbage. I'll never shop there again. I felt sick. I knew I couldn't fight this alone. I called my lawyer. Yes, I actually have one. I hired her when I took over the store after my aunt passed. Her name's Monique, and she's sharp as hell. I emailed her everything, the footage, the screenshots, her review. I asked if I could sue for defamation. Monique called me back in 10 minutes. Not only can we sue, she said, we should. But Monique had an even better idea. Let's send a cease and desist first, she said. Make her sweat. And we'll include a demand to remove the review and issue a public apology. If she doesn't, we file. By Friday, Gina got the letter. And that's when things went from annoying to dangerous. She showed up at my store. I was alone. She walked in like she owned the place. No hello? No smile. You think you're smart? She hissed. Sending lawyers after me over a damn dress? I didn't flinch. You lied about what happened. You tried to ruin me. She stepped closer. You don't know who you're messing with. I stayed behind the counter and said nothing. She kept going. My boyfriend's cousin is a cop. You think a little boutique owner can threaten me? I'll have this whole place shut down. That's when I pressed the button under the counter. It doesn't call the cops, but it does activate a loud ping in the back room and notifies my security service. It's something I had installed after a shoplifting incident last year. Leave, I said loud and clear. This is your last warning. She stormed out again. This time, she knocked over a display table on her way out. Broke a glass jewelry case. Ran out like a coward. That was her second big mistake. The first was trying to scam me. The second was coming back. I pressed charges. I had the video of her causing damage and threatening me. I filed a police report. Monique updated the cease and desist to include the incident. And we moved forward with the lawsuit. But here's the twist. I didn't just want to win the case. I wanted to make sure other small businesses knew what kind of person Gina was. So I started digging. And what I found? Let's just say Gina had a pattern. I couldn't let it go. Even with the lawsuit in motion, even with the footage and police report backing me up, I needed to know who this woman really was. Something about how calm she was when she lied, how fast she flipped from sweet to scary, it didn't sit right. So I dug. It started simple. I googled her name and added review and return and complaint. Not much at first. Just her Yelp profile, pages and pages of one-star reviews for different places around Asheville. A spa, a bakery, a nail salon. All the same kind of language. Owner was rude. Refused to fix their mistake. Horrible customer service. Some even had words like assault and discrimination tossed around like candy. Then I clicked into one about a florist. It was about a wedding order gone wrong. But the store owner replied directly in the comments and said something that stopped me cold. She wore the arrangement to the wedding, posted pictures online, then tried to return it. We have receipts and timestamps. Beware of this woman. That was it. I knew I wasn't the first. So I made a few calls. It's funny how small business owners stick together. The florist, the nail tech, even the bakery, all women, all burned by Gina. They each told me the same story. She'd come in nice, spend money, then try to return things after using them. When refused, she'd blow up, leave fake reviews, and threaten to ruin them. The spa owner told me Gina once threatened to call the health department unless they gave her a full refund on a massage she didn't enjoy. That wasn't just rude. That was a pattern. A weapon. I decided to go public. I didn't want to cancel her. I'm not that kind of person. But I needed to protect my business. And if she kept getting away with this, more shops would get hit. So I wrote a post on my store's Facebook page. Calm, detailed, and with screenshots. I told the whole story, the dress, the fake return, the security footage, the false review, the threats, the damage, the lawsuit. I left names out but included proof. I blurred her face in the photos. I said this. Small businesses are struggling. Some people think we're easy targets. But we aren't. We work too hard for that. I won't be bullied, and I won't stay silent. It blew up. Within a day, I had over 500 shares. Local news picked it up. Boutique owner fights back against fraudulent returns. Customers I hadn't seen in months came by just to say they supported me. People offered to leave honest reviews to offset the damage. Even a few city council folks commented. Then I got a message from a woman in Greensboro. She said, "Is this the same Gina who tried to sue my husband's car detailing shop last year?" It was. But then something happened I didn't expect. Gina's boyfriend called me. He left a voicemail that I listened to 3 times. He sounded tired. Like defeated tired. "Hi, this is Jake. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I didn't know she was doing this to people. I saw the footage. I saw everything. We're not together anymore." He paused. "She told me she was pregnant 2 months ago to stop me from leaving. She lied. About a lot. I thought you should know." I sat in my stockroom for a while after that. Just breathing. Gina wasn't just scamming stores. She was tearing through lives. And she was about to learn what it felt like when the lies caught up. The lawsuit took 4 months to move through. Gina dragged her feet at every step. Her lawyer tried to argue that the dress wasn't damaged enough to prove it was worn. Tried to say I had singled her out because of her tone. They called my Facebook post defamatory. But it didn't stick. Because the footage spoke louder than any lie. And the best part? She didn't know I had more. See, during the time all this was going on, I quietly handed all the info I'd collected, her reviews, the matching photos, the messages from other shop owners, to the state's Attorney General's office. Turns out, North Carolina has a consumer protection division, and they take retail fraud pretty seriously, especially repeat cases. So while we were fighting the civil case, the state opened a fraud investigation. She didn't see it coming. 2 weeks before our final court date, Gina was served with papers from the AG's office. She was being investigated for a pattern of abusive and possibly criminal consumer fraud. She was facing real consequences now, not just fines, but potential jail time. The day we went to court, she looked like a shell of herself. No makeup. Hair a mess. No big sunglasses. Just small and bitter and quiet. The judge ruled in my favor. She had to pay me the full cost of the damaged dress, plus court fees, plus damages to the store, including lost business. It added up to almost $12,000. She tried to argue she couldn't pay. But remember that Instagram? The one where she bragged about not paying for drinks. I'd also found another post, weeks earlier, where she showed off a new designer handbag, talking about how money isn't an issue when you know how to get what you want. Yeah. That didn't help her case. She started crying in court. I didn't feel bad. But I did feel tired. Because here's the truth, I made a mistake too. When she first lied, when she screamed in front of my customers, I let it shake me. I almost caved. I almost gave her the refund just to make it stop. I almost doubted myself. And if I had, she'd still be out there doing it to others. So yeah, I won. But I had to fight harder than I ever expected. And it left a scar. The day after court, I closed the store early. I walked into the back room, turned off the lights, and cried until my body couldn't take it. Then I stood up, washed my face, and went home. Because that's what you do when you're not the kind of person who scams people. You fight. You survive. And you never let someone like Gina take your name away from you. Weeks later, the AG's office officially charged her with retail fraud. I got an email from the florist. Thank you. You stopped her. Sometimes, justice takes time. But it shows up, just like I did. And it's wearing green velvet. I thought it was over. After the court case, after the fraud charges, after all the crying and the stress and the long nights of rechecking my security cameras twice before locking up, I thought I could finally breathe. But people like Gina don't disappear that easy. 2 months after the court decision, I was in the shop early on a Thursday morning. It was quiet, just me and the sound of the steamer running in the back. I'd started sleeping better again, started smiling more. Customers were coming back. The reviews were recovering. I even hired a part-timer named Nora to help out a few days a week. And then, just after I flipped the open sign, the door creaked open. It was her. No yelling this time. No bag in her hand. Just her, standing in the middle of my store, eyes dark, lips tight. I froze. "What are you doing here?" I asked. My voice was steady, but my heart was hammering. She looked thinner. Grayer somehow. She held her arms close to her chest. "I just wanted to talk," she said. I didn't move from behind the counter. "You're not supposed to be here. I can call the cops right now. I'm not here to fight," she said. I lost everything." I said nothing. She kept going. "My boyfriend left. I got evicted. My parents won't speak to me. The lawyer I hired sued me for non-payment. I can't even get a job because if they Google me..." I raised an eyebrow. "You mean when they see what you did?" She blinked hard. I couldn't tell if she was about to cry or scream. "I messed up," she whispered. "But you didn't have to destroy me." I laughed, bitter. "Destroy you? You tried to ruin my name, my store, my whole life. I protected what I built. You did this to yourself." She stared at me for a long moment. Then, slowly, she walked over to the counter and pulled something from her purse. It was a check. "Here. The rest of the money I owe you." I'm trying to make things right. I looked down at it. It wasn't even the full amount. Just a portion. Maybe she thought showing her face and handing me a check would fix everything. I slid it back toward her. Keep it. She flinched. Why? Because I don't want anything from you. I just want you to never walk through that door again. Her eyes filled with tears, but I didn't care. She wasn't the victim. She was just facing consequences for the first time in her life. I'm sorry, she said, her voice shaking. I didn't respond. I walked over, opened the door, and pointed outside. She stood there for a second, then slowly turned and walked out. I watched her cross the street. No shouting. No scene. Just silence. I locked the door behind her and didn't move for a while. Later that day, I shredded the check. Not because I'm some saint, but because peace means more than money. I already won. Some people come into your life just to remind you how strong you are. Gina? She was one of those people. And as much damage as she tried to cause, she couldn't break me. Because I knew who I was. And I knew the truth. And now? So did everyone else.